This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. FTX gobbled up dozens of Western New Providence properties over the past 2 years. And the FTX Chapter 15 petition has been transferred to Delaware. Later in the show, we're talking with the Bahamas Public Services Union. And in our Morning Blend Business Hour, we'll be talking to the Access Accelerator. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. Again, I'm Chester Robards. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. In a moment, Tony Grant Jr., better known as Tej, will be joining me. And later in Morning Blend Business, Access Accelerator. They've been having a busy month. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight Bahamas, headquartered FTX, its former CEO Bankman-Fried and other company associates spent more than $130 million on real estate in the Bahamas since 2020, according to documents. This is what the Nassau Guardian has been able to track so far. The numbers likely higher, with U.S. courts filings indicating as much as $300 million in property was purchased in the Bahamas by FTX and affiliates. A search of records at the Office of the Registrar General yesterday revealed that FTX Property Holdings purchased 18 properties in Albany for a total of $80.8 million. All of the conveyances for FTX Property Holdings were carried out by Clement Maynard & Co. The company purchased 8 condos at the exclusive community in Western New Providence. The units were designated as residences for key personnel. And the attorney representing FTX US in its Chapter 11 bankruptcy case revealed in court yesterday that an FTX entity in the US bought about $300 million in real estate in the Bahamas, mainly homes and vacation properties used by senior executives. Delaware, James Bronley, the proposed co-counsel for the debtor, said in a Delaware court, quote, there were substantial amounts of money spent on things that were not related to the business. FTX Trading and 134 affiliates filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the U.S. on November 11th. Also, in FTX news, FTX US revealed yesterday that an agreement was reached with the Bahamian-appointed Joint Provisional Liquidators to transfer their Chapter 15 bankruptcy petition in New York to Delaware, and that it hopes to engage in constructive dialogue with the liquidators in the future. James Bromley, proposed co-counsel for FTX US in the Chapter 11 case, suggested that there has been tension with the JPLs the Joint Provisional Liquidators, and FTX US. A 36-year-old Bahamian murder suspect was deported from the United States yesterday, police said. Police said the man, 36-year-old Juvik Eric Sawyer, who is a Bimini resident and also goes by Juvin Eric Strawn, was arrested in South Florida on June 9, 2022 by Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He arrived in New Providence at 9:20 a.m. yesterday and was accompanied by ICE officers, police said. Police added that the man will be flown in Grand Bahama, where he will be questioned by police in connection with an outstanding murder, possession of firearms and ammunition, and possession of dangerous drugs. And Standard & Poor's upholds the Bahamas' rating, but concerned about FTX's impact. Credit rating agency Standard & Poor's has affirmed the Bahamas' credit rating at B+ and its outlook as stable in its latest credit opinion report on this country. It explained that the stable outlook also supposes no adverse impact on the country, especially from the recent collapse of locally headquartered cryptocurrency exchange FTX Digital Markets. In international news, a shooter opened fire in Walmart in Virginia late Tuesday, leaving 6 people dead, police said. In the country's second high-profile mass killing in a handful of days, the assailant is also dead. The store in Chesapeake is now safe and will likely be closed for several days during the investigation, Officer Leo Kosinski said in the early hours of Wednesday. It was not clear who the shooter was or what their motive might be. Mayor Rick W. West said in a statement posted on the city's Twitter account, quote, "I am devastated by the senseless act of violence that took place last night in our city. Chesapeake is a tight-knit community, and we are all shaken by this." A database run by the Associated Press, USA Today, and Northeastern University that tracks every mass killing in America going back to 2006 shows this year has been especially bad. The U.S. has now had 40 mass killings so far this year, second to the 45 that occurred for all of 2019. The database defines a mass killing as at least 4 people killed, not including the killer. That attack came 3 days after a shooting at Walmart, where a person opened fire at a gay nightclub in Colorado, killing 5 people and wounding 17. Earlier in the year, the country was shaken by the deaths of 21 when a gunman stormed an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Let's turn to sports. After dropping their first game of the season in Game 2, the Nassau Christian School Crusaders senior boys team pummeled the St. Augustine's College Big Red Machine in a 20-3 in Game 3 to win the Bahamas Association of Independent Secondary Schools senior boys softball title yesterday. They won the best-of-3 series 2-1, claiming their third softball championship in Crusaders history. And the Bahamas senior men's national beach soccer team improved to a 2-0 win-loss record in the Central American and Caribbean Sea and beach games on Tuesday, coming from behind to take down Mexico 2-1 at the beach soccer stadium in Santa Marta, Colombia. This is the inaugural year for the event, and there are 650 athletes from 26 countries participating. Also being contested are beach wrestling, open water swimming, surfing, beach volleyball, beach rugby, handball, skateboarding, and tennis. Head coach for the Bahamas, Nestle Jean, said they had to change formation after Mexico scored to take a 1-0 lead in the match. He said, quote, "We wanted to high press man-to-man and try to get the keeper to do more of the kicking. When we went down, we basically changed formation and also personnel up top. Overall, we limited our mistakes and the team is improving. The players are starting to buy into the different system that we have created, John said. And within days, the prestigious Caribbean Baseball Cup will stage its 4th annual competition on Bahamian soil thanks to the Bahamas Baseball Association. Senior League Baseball action returns to Nassau in a big way on Sunday, December 4th, when Team Bahamas faces Caribbean powerhouse teams from Cuba, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Curacao, the tournament's defending champions. And in international sports, we look at World Cup. Giroud and Mbappe helped France beat Australia 4-1. France showed it can cope without its star striker at the World Cup. In Karim Benzema's absence, Kylian Mbappe scored one and set up the second of Olivier Giroud's 2 goals to help the defending champions beat Australia 4-1 on Tuesday. Giroud equaled Thierry Henry's national record of 51 goals with a header from Mbappe's cross in the 71st minute. Giroud, who failed to score at the last World Cup, but did find the net at the 2014 tournament, can break Henry's record when France faces Denmark on Sunday. France's coach Didier Deschamps said it's not just about chasing records, but what he always does on the field. He's a very important player for us. That's your look at sports and your look at overnight. Your first look at weather is up next. Now it's time for your look at weather, brought to you by the Chick Charney Challenge, sponsored by Colino. In your public forecast, the general situation of high pressure is building across the Bahamas, while sea swells propagate along north and easterly shores. Beachgoers are advised to be vigilant for possible rip currents along north and easterly beaches. There is a risk of waterspouts today. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variably cloudy and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming fair and mild with a passing shower tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. Winds southeast to south at 10 knots, falling light and variable at times. Seas 1 to 3 feet, building 4 to 6 feet in northeasterly swells. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, hot and breezy, with isolated showers and a thunderstorm, becoming fair and mild with passing showers tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. Winds easterly at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 7 feet. Your daytime high temperature today, 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Your overnight low temperature, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll have an extended forecast for you later in the show.
Morning Blend Weather Check brought to you by the Chick Charney Challenge. The country's premier obstacle course run is back this December 3rd at Clifton Heritage Park. Run, jump, climb, and claw your way to the finish. The Chick Charney Challenge, The Return. Sign up today at chickcharneychirin.com or call 421-8915 today. The Chick Charney Challenge.
When we come back, we're discussing some of the day's top stories. That's when Morning Blend continues here on Guardian Radio 96.9, home of fresh news and smart talk all day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank, Bank the way you want.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
The secret is out. Thursdays have gone TCL at Alive. Thursday, November 17th and November 24th, you can save big on select TCL devices. Shop early for the holidays and get the best deals on devices starting as low as $19. Alive has doorbuster specials, TCL savings, and more. So stop, drop, and run to your nearest Alive location closest to you. We are Alive. Terms and conditions apply.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. We're all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm Chester Robards. Joining me, T.G. Grant Jr., Tony Grant Jr.,
And good morning.
better known as the Tej.
How are you doing, Chester?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I'm here. It's kind of cold up here in Texas right now, but I'm surviving.
Oh yeah, I forgot you said you'd be in Texas.
Yeah, it is a bit cold, but I'm being a soldier about it.
Yeah. I
Definitely.
I never ever consider cold in Texas for some reason.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Texas is
You
a
remember
big state. Yeah,
about
they
2
had
years
that
ago,
big
they had
freeze.
Yeah, they had the ice storm and everything about 2 years ago. So they have it every now and then.
But not near the Gulf Coast, do they? It don't go that far, does it?
I'm in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Dallas. I couldn't even tell you. But no, it snows here from time to time, especially around January, February.
Right.
Yeah, it could very well snow here.
Yeah. Well, happy you are joining us. You can join the conversation today as well. Morning Blend on Twitter, Morning Blend 969, or follow the hashtag Morning Blend. Be sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. leave your comments and read what others are saying about the topics on the show. You can email us at morningblend@nascar.com. You can text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC. Text us at 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates do apply. You can also call us. We'd like to hear your voice. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Also coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. And we have business news coming up in Morning Blend Business at 9. In our 7 o'clock hour, or just a few minutes, we'll be talking to the Bahamas Public Services Union. And in our 8 o'clock hour, we'll be back on the news. And in Morning Blend Business, we're talking with the Access Accelerator. But first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. And in the news, Teach, you are probably the best person to now be on the show to talk about this, but it's all about FTX and real estate.
Okay.
And full disclosure, you're a real estate man. And
I am. I am a real estate agent here in Florida, and I advise investors as well.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. And would you advise Albany? It seems like a good place to go buy up a lot of property, and FTX surely did. So we have calculated that that FTX, they spent about $80.8 million in Albany on property, which now when I think about it, it's Albany. So 80 million, how many properties could that be? Depending on what you buy. Because you got condos and then you got properties and homes.
Right.
So that 80 million could kind of be all over the place. But Sam Bankman-Fried had a penthouse. And I imagine that wasn't cheap.
Have you been there?
I've seen pictures.
You've just seen pictures. Okay, you haven't been there.
Of the penthouse. You mean Albany in general?
No, to the penthouse itself.
Yeah, I haven't been.
See, I know light-skinned people in Bahamian media get in certain places where dark-skinned media can't go. So I'm just throwing it out there. Have you been? I'm just putting it out there.
You mean Bahamians can get in Albany?
Hey, it's like that? Thank you for letting me know. I did not know.
I joke. Some do.
Oh my goodness.
So, but the FTX US, the lawyers who were dealing with the Chapter 11 bankruptcy there, they say the company has almost $300 million in real estate in the Bahamas. Now, when I saw that number, my mind was like, okay, I feel like Sam Bankman-Fried's penthouse was probably $150 million, like half of that already.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I'm guessing.
I couldn't call it. I wish I knew more about real estate in Nassau. I just know it's on fire.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to take a deep dive into researching that market.
Yeah.
But my God, that's a great deal to pay on a penthouse, you know?
Yeah. I don't know how much it was. And there were rumors that it went on the market already, but I don't think it has, because it's still owned by the company and they're still winding it up and figuring things out. But when it sells, I hope it's not a fire sale. I hope they get real value for these places.
Right. So is Sam Bankman-Fried just still over there chilling, just hanging out?
Apparently.
Okay. Apparently. PS5 getting worn out over there, huh?
Man,
PS5
you
getting
can't
defined.
be playing games at this. I mean, maybe what eases your stress? I don't know. Maybe
At this point, you don't know what he's doing.
I
You don't know
can't
if he's
imagine.
playing games.
And there's so
You
many
know.
rumors about what he's doing. So somebody texted in saying the penthouse was 40 million.
Goodness, like
Could be right? I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know if I have a brain for real estate and what things should be worth.
You know, sometimes it hurts your head. Sometimes it does hurt to think about it.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes you look at 40 million in certain places and like, you know, I don't care. I understand why. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there in the penthouse at Albany, I can't imagine 40 million being a price tag.
So, with your knowledge, right, and this is something I think that we've talked about on the show, or even just mentioned in passing, but with this kind of like real estate grab going on, doesn't it make it a bit harder for other people to purchase real estate? Because
it does,
because rates begin to go up, right?
Yeah, in several different ways. You know, even though those properties are priced really high, New Providence is a really tight market. You're talking about an island, you know.
Yeah.
And you know those purchases, especially in excess. You know, when you have several of those purchases, those bigger purchases, of course, it tells the market that people have that kind of money. You know, so naturally prices tick up. Even for the homes in Stapleton, the homes in Chippenham, the homes in Bay and Grantstown, naturally when you have those big sales being executed like that, and then you have them being executed in volume, normally the market ticks up and it makes it harder for the common person to buy, especially in a tight market like New Providence.
Yeah, me, I'm common. I'm the common person.
Yeah, so it'll be you. It'll be you, the person with the family who just had a baby, who just got married about 5 years ago, who's looking to make their first real estate purchase. Those are the people being affected or impacted the most.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's a big conversation in the country. Well, I wouldn't say country because you still could find like really nice property in the Family Islands that wouldn't kill you, but not here, not in New Providence.
Not in New Providence. Yeah. And then what resources are the Family Islands going to offer your daughter if you want to raise, you know? And I know children out there, like I know people are raised out there and they're excellent. They're amazing. You know, they go throughout life, they go throughout the world and do great. They thrive. Kyle Joaquin is an example, my good friend. You know, he grew up in the Out Islands, but of course, you see what he's doing today, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, is that a place that you really want to go take your daughter right now after growing up in Nassau, after being in Nassau all this time?
Right. I mean,
you know, people don't want to buy properties out there. Let's be real. The economic opportunities are just not great in the Family Islands unless you have a certain amount of money.
Yeah. And, you know, even Dwight always talking about building up Andros and other places and maybe switching the capital to some other island. But now that I have a piece of property in New Providence, I need the values to improve.
Right. You need things to be right there.
Exactly. Oh, gosh. It's so difficult, man.
I know. And like I said, it's a tight market. So those purchases where people are buying properties for like $2 million, $3 million, $4 million when they're happening unusually a lot more, of course, the market is going to be tougher for you. It's not going to be tougher for the millionaires and the second homeowners that come to the country. It's not going to be hard for them. It's going to be hard for the Bahamian who's trying to own their first home. And so there has to be things in place by the government, any policy to protect first-time home buyers that are Bahamian. There has to, you know. So
and this government's put some stuff in place. Thank God.
Yeah.
But so the other thing is, and this has been talked about, right? that this big boon of real estate purchases in the Bahamas in general, but New Providence seems to have made a lot of new real estate agents around our age. And it seems like almost every middle class Bahamian that I know who's around our age has become some real estate agent in some shape, fashion, or form. I've been meaning to ask a lot of people, like, why is that? Why is that happening?
Yeah, so that could be one of two reasons. And so I'm going to be very honest with you. A lot of the real estate brokerages right now, they're predatory too. You know, they prey on young men and women, and they just see like, okay, we could get a percentage from them. They really don't have to give them office space. They don't really have to give them materials like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That person pays for that as they make money. You know, as they make a sale, a percentage of the commission goes to the brokerage or whatever. That's what the brokerage is thinking about. You know, these days real estate agents work remote. You know, they don't really need as much from the brokerage as they once did before. And so for brokerages, it doesn't cost them anything to have somebody on board, you know?
Right.
For a real estate agent, these young people, of course, they see a lot of people come into the island, even if they have a job, even if they have another job, even if they have a business, they still say, I have a good network of people. I probably could get like 1 or 2 sales a year,
right,
on top of my paycheck, which is okay, you know.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are not even getting it to walk into full time. They're looking at it to like, you know, just supplement income.
Yeah.
And then you have the real estate agents like myself who got into it for deeper knowledge of the market to better advise investors.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I do. On top of that, you have real estate agents who come into that game just wanting to have a better knowledge of the market to become investors themselves. And so all of that comes into play. So it could be any one of those reasons. It's not really, I want to make a real estate sale because I think I can make sales and talk to people. It's not really that a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's that a lot of times, like, I mean, sometimes, yes. But what you would find is half the time you find other reasons people become real estate agents. And I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
People are strategizing how they can obtain real estate. And that's why a lot of these people our age are becoming real estate agents today.
Yeah. I know some people think about it this way. Everybody's gunning for that private island sale.
Hey, you know, and that's the thing with the Bahamas. You know, the ceiling is so high. It's not like there's a low ceiling in the Bahamas and you could only get sales up to this month. You know, it's not like that. In Jamaica, a lot of it is. You know, a lot of the real estate is limited. It's limited as to how much you can make on a property. You know, a lot of people know they're not going to get the properties up in the mountains, right outside the city. You know, in Red Hills or whatever.
Right.
They know they're not going to do that. And so they come in with the mindset like, I got to hustle because I'm going to sell these properties that are worth, in our money, not Jamaican money, but in our money, maybe, you know, $90,000, $100,000, $110,000.
Yeah.
You know,
if you're the agent who sold Sam Bankman-Fried the penthouse, after you get your commission, do you just like retire?
No, you don't. You don't. If you put enough time into it, you start your own brokerage. So you can take the commissions off of other agents.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
And chill.
And you chill out. Yeah. And once you set up your own brokerage, once people have a track record of what you've done, if you've made big sales, it doesn't even matter if it's Sam Bankman-Fried. People are gonna say, let's use him or let's use her. You know, we need to use that agent. They've executed a sale to this magnitude. And then on top of that, you don't have one agent working on a sale worth that much. Normally, if it's over $1 million, even if it's one brokerage dealing with the sale, you find that you have multiple agents executing the sale.
Okay.
It's never just one with the deal to that magnitude.
That's interesting. Oh, we got a call coming in. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Hey, good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
And good morning to your co-host, and good morning to those who wake up in the land of the living. Chester,
Good morning, sir.
Let me ask the gentleman as a real estate agent. All right, that money that was used to purchase those properties,
right,
from the international scene, that's people's money. That's not Bankman's. That's not Sam's money. So, in a case like that, the Delaware court could they take those properties after they find out that those properties were proceeds of illegal transactions, to say?
Yep. So I'm not sure what the Bahamian policies are with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I couldn't tell you, but that would be on the Bahamian government on what they would allow. You know, what jurisdiction they allow the banks in the U.S. to operate under.
Right. Now, my next question to you as a real estate agent. Okay, in that situation, if the Delaware court decide to as I can see, look like they having a case with this, do you think any real estate agent name would be called up in that?
Not really, because real estate agents would not, or they're not supposed to have that knowledge of business, you know, that deep into somebody's business. They're not supposed to look into somebody's life like that. You know, that could be considered unethical in some cases. Right. The only thing they're concerned with is somebody came to me to purchase real estate. I have to execute a sale.
Right.
So that's it.
Because I know a couple of real estate agents, and they tell me that, you know, they don't ask people where the money come from, basically.
Never, never. You just
because that's confidentiality information, and you don't want to divulge that to anyone.
That's only for the bank.
Right. And my last question to you and Chester, in this whole thing, with Freeman and this FTX situation, do you believe that the lawyers that represented this gentleman would be called in a court case? Basically, I mean, like, for what you see, how it is going right now. I mean, just your conspiracy theory answer.
Yeah, I'm sure if he ends up in court in a criminal case,
absolutely,
as witnesses, yeah, I'm sure they
get
called. Because okay, what was the I think it was FCA. I'm not too sure. I could be corrected. Who represented? I think who was the lawyer who was withholding information? I think it was Donald Trump's lawyer who was withholding information to the courts or something like that. But you know something, Giuliani? Let me leave this. You're right. Go. I can't pronounce.
Yeah, Giuliani. Yeah.
Giuliani. Yeah.
Go. Yeah. That's true. Let me leave this with you and the gentleman. In this country, Bahamian people who could hear me this morning, that all for me, baby family. I wonder what all for me, baby, now gonna say. Have a good day, my brother.
You too.
All right.
You too. We got another call coming, and let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. Oh, that line is terrible. What? Boy, the text message is going to come in with all kind of craziness now. This person says, I'm wondering if my realtor, whose name I am not going to call, scammed me and many others out of homes she never produced. Huh?
Yeah. Well, how does that work in the I'm trying to figure out how does that work, because if you don't present somebody a home, how do you take money from them?
I don't really understand.
And the realtor doesn't take the money. That's the thing. The money goes into escrow. The money is managed in other hands. It's never handled by the agent, really. And if it is, it's for less than 24 hours.
I don't know if this person is saying that person is the real estate agent. I'm confused. Anyway,
yeah, I don't know.
The discussion is incorrect because in the Bahamas, real estate brokers are considered financial institutions.
Is that so?
I don't think that is. financial institution. I don't know about that.
I don't think that's correct.
No.
I don't think a real estate brokerage can be listed as a
They
financial institution.
they have to do KYC, but I don't think they're considered a financial institution.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that.
And their due diligence is literally just a form that the person has to fill out.
Yes.
You state, I don't know if you state your source of income on that form. I don't remember because I just did one. But that is not really, that's not real KYC. I mean, that's not real like due diligence.
Right.
That's just, hey, fill this out for me, and so we can keep it for our records. This person is saying that they were scammed by someone and that the person was not part of BRIA, and this is a lesson for everybody who's listening. Do your homework on people before you work with them or work with a reputable firm from Jump Street.
Just take one internet search.
Yeah, like
one search, and you could figure out if it's a legit agent or not.
Yeah, you know, honey is dripped from some people's lips, and some people like honey.
You should not be getting swinged from a real estate agent in 2022, though.
That's true. I mean,
there are too many systems in place for you to check
and resources, right?
There are too many. Yes, you know, that's impossible almost.
The problem here is everybody want a little backdoor deal, and then it sound good. I'm not saying that's the case with this texter, but
right
everywhere, yeah, I could get you this little thing for this thing, you know.
Right?
Yeah, for
no,
real?
I feel you.
All
Absolutely.
I got is this little thing, so yeah, let's do that. Don't get swung, people. If it's too good to be true, it ain't true.
It really ain't. Especially in Nassau.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway, let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
I could barely hear you in the background there.
I don't know. We can hear you fine.
Okay, wonderful, man. Listen, Stephen, you said it. Good morning, Teach.
Morning, brother.
Man, you got to put on your long johns, man. You understand? You in America, get long johns.
Listen, I lay it up right now. I didn't expect it to be so cold.
Well, do what I did when I was in North Carolina. The maid couldn't clean my room because I had my heat up to 100. I tell her that's okay. But listen, you said it's the same beef, Stephen. Honey. Cheese. See, the cheese on the trap or the bacon on the trap, you know. The rats see the trap, but they are so gullible. They into the trap, they just want to get that honey, that cheese, or that bacon. You understand? They throw all caution to the wind. So you said it's the saintly, but the opposition, I hear Michael Pintard making some good ruckus, but old people, they say you sweep your dormouse before you push on somebody else's dormouse, because if my memory serves me correct, during the Free National Movement's reign the other day, it is alleged that some high-ranking officials or official in that party, now that y'all saying all these homes was purchased in Albany, got a $2 million deal to keep Albany during the entirety of the COVID. So tell Michael Bintard, be careful and sweep your dormouse before you talk. Thanks for taking my call, Steve.
All right. Yeah.
You heard that one before?
No, I've not heard the money side. But
you haven't heard that one before?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I've never heard that one
But
before.
I know places were open when certain places were closed. I mean, I don't know if that was supposed to be a secret, but you know.
You know, they can say they didn't know, and you know.
But I get, you know, if you were like so there was some exceptions, right? So if you were like a hotel that
Correct.
still operated, then you could have certain amenities open.
Right.
And so I am sure that
Albany,
in Albany, you could still play golf because, you know, that's your bubble. That's your like how you could go exercise in your community. That's your whole place is your community.
wealthier Bahamians and connected Bahamians were still going to Albany during the Pascalis and enjoying the amenities over there.
Yeah.
That was happening. I saw the Instagram pictures and photos, stories, Facebook stories, stuff like that,
Yeah. While
Bahamian people like show off.
While liquor stores were closed, there were places to find liquor.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
You might have to drive far, but there were places to find liquor.
There was a wealthy
in wealthy areas.
And I probably can put it out there right now, but there's a wealthier guy. He's not even from the Bahamas, but during the pandemic, he was selling either half a dozen or a dozen bottles of wine, and this was nice wine too. And he was selling it discounted all over Grand Bahama. That was great. It was a great time. You got good wine for cheap.
But but this is but it's funny, in hindsight, but this is the reason that, as we look at the totality of this FTX story, and I think that maybe we'll be able to, but Fred Mitchell does a voice note every morning, like 4 a.m., talking about the days or the week's frivolities, right? And I think his latest voice note talks about how, let me read this for accuracy. 1 second. How the local press and international press are preaching doom and gloom and that the sky is falling over the FTX matter. And he says, it seems from this voice note, that FTX will have no material effect on the future of the Bahamas. But that's not the point. That's not the point at the moment. I mean, Fred Mitchell is an extremely smart individual, and I rate him, right?
Yeah, me too.
But that's not the point. Right now, the fall of FTX is having a very material effect on Bahamians.
It is.
So who cares about the future? Those people are looking at tomorrow,
Yep.
And that's the point.
I agree.
That's the point right now. Maybe our reputation is going to clean up in 2-3 years. Fine. But right now, we got to deal with the fallout.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We got to worry about today. So that
it looks bad. It looks bad right now. And I just hate the tone that international media uses when they talk about the Bahamas right now.
Yeah. It was a lot.
It's a lot. They go to the Bahamas to play. That. It's like nothing's ever taken serious in the Bahamas.
Well, and so that's the kind of point I was getting to before I talked about Fred Mitchell. When you talked about the wine, and I talked about finding liquor in Western areas when all the liquor stores were closed, is that it's true on a level that if you have enough money in this country, you could almost do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's true. I mean, but it's true globally as well. So it ain't just the Bahamas, but we under a microscope right now, and
we are.
And so these things that people are saying about FTX and our regulatory regime and those kinds of things, it's not that they're inaccurate, but on a global context, they're probably unfair because this goes on everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
And then in a global context, we got to realize for a small country, we've made the headlines in some very, very unappealing ways in the last 3 years, 4 years. You had Peter Nygaard, and that blew up all over the Western Hemisphere, and then you had the Fire Festival, a documentary that went crazy on Netflix. It just points to us, we're doing stuff horribly here. We're running this country in such a way that's playful, we're Bahamians. We have that image now that we're smoking weed on the beach all day.
Yeah.
And drinking beer, drinking Bahama Mamas, and just everything cool, man. How it goes to the beach Jamaican times.
Lord,
that's how they selling it right now.
The real art and culture community in the Bahamas hates that.
Of course.
They hate it.
Of course. You have to. But they're gonna attach a stigma to our country.
Yeah.
Like that, just off all of this. I mean, it's unfair. It doesn't have anything to do with the business that's being ran in the country. But look over the last 3 years, the things that have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had these billionaires that had a real fight, like, you know, that spun off and it led to the whole Nygaard situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't write this. You know?
Yeah.
It's like foreigners come to the Bahamas to do whatever they want. To do whatever the hell they want. That's what it is.
Our boy Mega say from the drug culture era, we've been in a bad light to the rest of the world. It's highs and lows, right? We like a wave over here.
Yeah, with the drug culture era, see, a lot of Bahamians, you know, we think about only the Bahamas. We don't think about other places. During those things were happening everywhere in these islands. It was happening in Jamaica. It was happening in the Cayman Islands. It was happening in South America. It was happening in Central America. And then it was also happening in Florida. So, you know, I really can't get on with that. You know, like they saw us in a bad light. Yeah. They tried us, and it really didn't work out the way they thought it would work out. We had people that spoke out strongly in defense of our country. But, you know, of course, politics was involved in that everywhere. And I'm not accusing the PLP government of being involved. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that's what it was everywhere at the time. So I really can't get on with that. This is different today.
Yeah.
It's quite different. You're talking about people who trying to run legit operations, legit businesses that should be checked, you know, that should be vetted. You know, like this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about black market, or we're not talking about cartels. We're not talking about people who are just sneaking stuff under the radar, you know, transporting and smuggling. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, you're right. This texter says, to explain the earlier text, real estate agents and brokers are designated non-financial businesses and regulated under Financial Transaction Reporting Act. So your real estate should have gotten more KYC from you than just having you complete a form. Like what? I think most KYC is a form. Maybe they, in the background after that, go check things out, but most KYC is just a form, as far as I know. The most important question is, do you have any political exposure?
Is that a broker that texted you, or
I don't know if that.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So it'll be good if there's a broker that's listening right now. It'll be good if you could call in, just inform us a bit.
Yeah. This person says Fred Mitchell voice notes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Oh, okay, didn't know that. It's good to know.
So are you on that list?
I'm not. You gotta add my number or something.
And like 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that?
4 a.m. or something?
Yeah, see, I couldn't wake up and then see the first voice note in the morning coming from Fred Mitchell on my phone. That wouldn't sit well with me. I don't want to be on that list. I'm good.
Yeah. This person says, the Honorable Minister has no idea what the financial services industry will face due to new regulations or restrictions by international financial bodies because of this epic crash and billions lost. Well, it's true. Nobody knows. We got to take this break, so let's do that. And the Morning Blend will continue on the other side.
Wake up.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. Tragedy at a Walmart in Virginia.
Police in Chesapeake, Virginia say a gunman walked into a Walmart Tuesday night and began firing, killing 6 people. Police say they believe when officers arrived at the scene. They say the gunman is also dead and that they don't believe officers fired any shots. A spokesman for Centara Healthcare says in a text message that 5 patients from the Walmart store are being treated at Norfolk General Hospital. Their conditions are not known. Walmart tweeted a statement saying, "We are shocked at this tragic event at our Chesapeake, Virginia store. We're praying for those impacted, the community, we and our associates. I'm Donna Warder.
The Thanksgiving holiday travel rush is on. The number of travelers this holiday season expected to be pretty close to the number in 2019, the last Thanksgiving before the pandemic. AAA spokesman Andrew Gross says if you're flying, the busiest days will be today and Sunday.
It's just the nature of flying. You have a lot more flexibility when you drive because you can decide, what time you're going to go, where you're going to stop, who's in the car with you. When you go by plane, it really depends on what time the plane goes.
Ukraine's First Lady says we will never forget and never forgive. Overnight, a rocket attack destroyed a hospital, killing a 2-day-old baby. The child's mother and a doctor pulled alive from the rubble near the city of Zaporizhia. Pope Francis, a soccer fan, is sending his greetings to World Cup players and praying this morning that the tournament in Qatar may be a chance for harmony and peace in the world. Here in the U.S., the Supreme Court has cleared the way for the handover of former President Trump's tax returns to a congressional committee. This comes after a 3-year legal fight. This is AP News. Now to reports of trouble in China at an Apple iPhone factory.
Employees at the world's biggest Apple iPhone factory have been beaten and detained in protests over contract disputes amid antivirus controls. Videos on Chinese social media that say they were filmed at the factory in the central city of Zhengzhou show thousands of people in masks facing rows of police. One person gets hit in the head with a club and another taken away with his arms held behind his back. Other videos show protesters spraying fire extinguishers toward police. Social media postings say were contract violations. The factory owner, Foxconn Technology Group, said earlier it was using closed-loop management, which refers to employees living at the workplace with no outside contact. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The Dow gained 397 points yesterday. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
It's time for your Morning Blend Traffic Alert. This segment of Morning Blend is brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. Traffic building up on Gladstone Road. It's pretty thick all the way back Fire Trail Road already. Samala Butler Highway looks like it's flowing a little bit, but traffic is still backed up to the roundabout at Fire Trail Road, causing traffic to be backed up onto Fire Trail Road about halfway to Gladstone Road. The traffic also extends past the roundabout southbound. In the east, traffic really bad as usual, backed up past San Souci on the eastern road. Looks like as you approach Dix Point, it starts to flow. Some traffic on Village Road where the construction is going on. Probably school traffic. But the road construction is causing a problem for some of the other lanes on the thoroughfares headed toward Village Road. Bernard Road not looking too bad. It looks like the the westbound lane is starting to build up some traffic. Traffic on Carmichael Road, pretty bad right now already. The thoroughfare eastbound on Carmichael Road headed to Blue Hill Road, chock full of traffic. And the traffic on Blue Hill Road to the roundabout is very thick this morning. Traffic beginning to build up at Saunders Beach near the roundabout. You probably want to get out early if that's your route. That typically starts to build up in the 8 o'clock hour. As your first look at traffic, this segment brought to you by RBC. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean and don't pay until February 2023. Also, it feels good to do good. So this Christmas, let's spread some good together. Share your story of an act of kindness on RBC's Facebook and Instagram pages, and a registered charity of your choice could be selected to receive a donation from RBC.
Sherwin-Williams Paints wants to make your holiday a splash jollier. November 21st through December 23rd, come deck your walls with color by stopping into either the Tonic Williams-Darling Highway or Prince Charles Drive location and take advantage of their Christmas sale of up to 20% off. And when you spend $100 or enter to win prizes like hotel stays, boat excursions, interior designer consultations, and more. Stop on to win. Sherwin-Williams Bahamas, find color in every day.
And as you heard, your weather checks brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. The general situation, a high pressure is building across the Bahamas while sea swells propagate along north and easterly shores. Beachgoers are advised to be vigilant for possible rip currents along north and easterly beaches. There is a risk of waterspouts today. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variably cloudy and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming fair and mild with a passing shower tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. Wind southeast to south at 10 knots, falling light and variable at times. Seas 1 to 3 feet, building 4 to 6 feet in the north in northeasterly swell. Central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, hot and breezy, with isolated showers and a thunderstorm, becoming fair and mild with passing showers tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. Winds easterly at 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 7 feet. The daytime high temperature today, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, or 31 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, high pressure will become the dominant weather feature across the Bahamas through Friday, while sea swells diminish slowly throughout the islands. We'll have your weather for Friday, Thursday, and Friday in the 8 o'clock hour and your tropical weather outlook. Here's a reminder, Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store is having a Black Friday store-wide sale up to 50% off, excluding net items only. Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store located Mackey Street. Call them at 393-0785. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. To RBC, get along to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get along and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get along and don't pay till New Year. RBC.
Link up with BTC.
Did you get the speed bump? All BTC subscribers with a bundled fiber connection receive the speed increase. Totally free and totally automatic. It's just another way of ensuring our customers, keeping them on the leading edge of everything awesome. Link up with BTC to get your speed bump today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com to learn more.
With all the fiber you need, link up.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price. Shanae's Chesapeake Road Christmas Wonderland is open under the Big Tent. Get your Christmas trees in pink, frosted, green, or white in a variety of sizes. Musical Christmas LED and laser lights, a large variety of tree ornaments, lighted angels and Santa tree toppers, bright and lively colored Christmas balls in all sizes, garlands, wreaths, tree skirts, stockings, and lots more. Add flowers, picks, and decorative mesh to brighten up your home or office this holiday season. And don't forget the toys at Janae's Chesapeake Road. Check our selections online at www.janae's.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we talk a lot about our Joint Commission International accreditation. The truth is, we worked hard to get it. We're proud of what we've done and what we continue to do. Every single day, every single patient. But why should you care? Our international accreditation means you can rest assured very best health care. Our equipment is top of the line. We attract the most qualified physicians, nurses, and technicians. We measure our procedures and outcomes constantly, and we stack up against the very best. That's why you should care. Isn't your health worth it?
Best of the best. Man, we up in the Bahamian country. We up in on Katy. We got the best in the Bahamian food. Boat racing all day in the water. Best of the best. 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 Only the best of the best. Man, bring me up boat. Ah, well, there ain't no more slapping up now. We outside December 1st to the 4th. The best of the best we got on Monaco Beach. You can find a rooster fastest from Class A, B, C, and E. Bring me up boat.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Atlantic Agents and Brokers. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
Hey girl, what you saying?
Really ready? I looking at my dress. You ready for this big party?
Party? Girl, you gonna have to change your birthday because I can't make that. After my party, I get a cough. I start having a fever. And then I even had a sore throat. I thought it was the flu. Come to find out it was COVID. Girl, I think you better get tested.
What do you do now? I can't be bothered with COVID, you know.
Girl, you know it ain't never too late to change your plans. Go Girl, you know they got new testing sites, right? You better go to one of them.
Where are these new sites located anyway?
University of the Bahamas and Golden Gates Plaza. They're open on weekdays from 9 a.m. and from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They even have sites in Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma, and they're opened on the weekends. Girl, the best part is, it's free.
Thanks for letting me know. I hope you feel better soon.
Message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
Finding more time on your hands lately? Need to start or finish a paint project at home? Well, all 3 Sherwin-Williams paint and art stores are open to serve you. Find and follow them on social media for more info at Sherwin-Williams242 and check out their website at SherwinWilliamsBahamas.com.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robards along with Tej Grant. And we're switching gears just for a moment, talking to Bahamas Public Services Union President Kemsley Ferguson. Welcome to the show. You just grab that mic right there.
Yes, good morning, Bahamas. Good morning, Chester.
Good morning. So before we have to run to the 8 o'clock news, just tell us what's going on. What are we here to talk about this morning?
Well, we're here to talk about the outstanding industrial agreements for the Bahamas Public Services Union and the various agencies that we do represent. We do have some concerns in how the employer is going about the negotiations. While they would have sat to the table with every other union, we are yet able and negotiate on behalf of the people that we do represent.
Right. You said there are some negotiations kind of going on, but not in the right way.
Well, I wouldn't call it
negotiations.
No, they ain't negotiations. You send me one document, you expect me to respond, and so on and so forth. You don't negotiate over the computer. That's an in-person thing.
Right. So tell us what it is you're looking for, really, predominantly.
Well, significantly, we are looking to ensure that public servants receive their just due based on the comments made by the Prime Minister. He indicated that he wanted to ensure that all unions receive a uniform increase. And, I guess there may be varying definitions for uniform, but my view of it is if you give me 2, the other person's expecting 2 as well. So, again, that is where we're at. When it came to the Bahamas Public Service Union, we found that we were being offered significantly less than every other union. We had a number of unions that sat at the table. Right. They negotiated. They came out smelling like a rose as well.
Right. Yeah, we've heard that that a lot of unions have they've had good discussions and come to some decent terms with the government. Why do you think the BPSU is not on that list at the moment?
I am so baffled, my brother. But it is indeed my role, my job, my responsibility to continue to agitate on behalf of the persons that we do represent. I don't try to personalize things. I try to rationalize things. Yeah. And so maybe somebody can help me to understand what exactly is going on. If the chief of the nation gives some instructions and indicate what he wants, I expect that those instructions would be followed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We'll get more into that in the 8 o'clock hour after the news.
22, and you're listening to the Guardian News Network.
And now at 8:16, it is time for your final look at this morning's weather, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Your general situation: a high pressure is building across the Bahamas while sea swells propagate along north and easterly shores. Beachgoers are advised to be vigilant for possible rip currents along north and easterly beaches. There is a risk of waterspouts today. For the northwest Bahamas, weather variably cloudy and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming fair and mild with a passing shower tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. Winds southeast to south at 10 knots, falling light and variable at times. Seas 1 to 3 feet, building 4 to 6 feet in northeasterly swells. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, hot and breezy, with isolated showers and a thunderstorm, becoming fair and mild with passing showers tonight. Small craft should exercise caution in that area. Winds easterly at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 7 feet. Your daytime high temperature today, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, 31 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, high pressure will become the dominant weather feature across the Bahamas through Friday, while sea swells slowly diminish throughout the islands. Your forecast for Thursday, weather partly sunny and warm with isolated showers and a thunderstorm. Winds east-northeast at 10 knots or less in the northwest Bahamas, and easterly at 15 knots in the central and southeast Bahamas. Seas 1 to 3 feet, building 3 to 5 feet in the northwest Bahamas, in northeasterly swells, 3 to 5 feet, building to 6 feet in easterly swells in the central and southeast Bahamas. Your outlook for Friday, weather partly to mostly sunny, warm and breezy, with isolated showers and a thunderstorm possible. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the northwest Bahamas, and easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the central and southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet, building to 5 feet in northeasterly swells in the northwest Bahamas, 4 to 6 feet in the central and southeast Bahamas. Your tropical weather outlook: tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 5 days. As your weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it today at bahamasfirst.com. It's time again for your morning blend traffic alert. This segment brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. And traffic looking pretty heavy in areas. Glasson Road looking about the same. Traffic still backed up to Fire Trail Road, but it looks like it's flowing. Looks like it's starting to loosen up on Sir Milo Butler Highway, though. The traffic on Fire Trail Road eastbound toward the roundabout at Sir Milo Butler Highway is still pretty thick. The traffic on Sir Milo Butler Highway extending past the roundabout. On Carmichael Road, eastbound at the intersection of Blue Hill Road, traffic still pretty thick, but the traffic on Blue Hill Road looks like it's starting to flow. Over at Saunders Beach, the roundabout there, the traffic has backed up, but not as bad as earlier in the week. It hasn't reached to Go Slow Bend. It's slow going as you passed the roundabout there heading east. On the Eastern Road, traffic flowing now towards Fox Hill Road. A little bit of a jam between there and Village Road, but it looks like it's starting to flow. The traffic on Prince Charles, pretty bad right now in the westbound lane. Lots of traffic on that street. That's your outlook and your morning blend traffic alert. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay until February 2023.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. To RBC, get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
Girl, Graham, haven't seen you for a while. How you doing?
I feel too good, honestly. I have a fever and a little cough.
So why are you in the store? You should be at home.
But I needed to come to the shop to pick up a couple things.
Couple things? You should be at home. When you're sick, you stay home. Just because we discontinue wearing masks doesn't mean you should not continue the precautionary measures for COVID-19. You need to go take a COVID test.
That ain't in the budget right now. Who paying for COVID tests?
But tests are free. Just go to one of the testing sites at the University of the Bahamas and the Golden Gates Plaza from Mondays to Fridays at 9 to 5 and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays. New sites are also open in Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma, weekdays and weekends.
I better hurry up get on this shop so I could go get tested because I hope this ain't COVID.
Message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Do you want a chance to win one of 5 Yamaha Kryptonite scooters? Do you like the great taste of Frito-Lay chips? Well, all you have to do is purchase chips like Lay's, Doritos, and Cheetos at your favorite Dixter Frito-Lay and Island Wholesale Scooter Giveaway promotion. Want to know more? Join us at Super Value Mackey Street, November 26th. This Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. for a chance to play Island Wholesale Shoot and Win game for instant prizes and a chance to win one of 5 Yamaha scooters. Frito-Lay, distributed by Island Wholesale.
Fidelity, we're good for you. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Best of the best. Man, we up in the Bahamian country. We up in on Kitty. We got the best best in the Bahamian food. Boat racing all day in the water. Best of the best, best of the best, best of the best, bring me the best of the best, best of the best, best of the best, the best of the best, man. Bring me your boat. Ah, well, there's no more slapping up now. We outside, December 1st to the 4th. The best of the best we got on Monaco Beach. You can find a rooster fastest in class A, B, C, and E. Bring your boat.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. A new day.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards along with Tej Grant this morning. I'm still sitting in for Dwight, who is on a break. I understand he's in Qatar watching the Germany-Japan World Cup game.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Who knows? So we are talking to Bahamas Public Service Union President Kemsley Ferguson, and
yes,
a lot's going on, sir. Tell us about it. Tell us. So take it back to I think before or during the election time, and what went on with unions in general from that time, and what the relationship is with BPSU.
Right.
Well, again, good morning, Bahamas, and good morning, Chester, and our co-host.
Morning.
Prior to the general election, it appeared as if everybody was extremely attentive. That was on the side of the opposition, and were extremely willing to hear your concerns and to indicate, should we ascend to office, this is how we're going to respond towards trade unions. And while those who would have agreed to the MOU situation, and don't get me wrong, didn't sign off, but simply because of how significant people view the services that they render have, to some extent, been dealt with differently from the Bahamas Public Services Union. Significantly, let's talk about nurses, let's talk about teachers. And so, again, we don't want a suspension of the services in the hospital, so we have to appease certain people.
Right.
And so, while the Prime Minister indicated initially that in a meeting with trade union leaders, the FS and, his chief negotiator, Mr. Evans, that he wanted a uniform increase, well, we expected that the Prime Minister's word would have been gospel at that particular time. And, we expected that it would have been carried out.
Right.
But for some reason or another, we are seeing something totally different being presented to the Bahamas Public Services Union. My take on it was the pie was going to be sliced and there was going to be equity straight across the board.
Right.
And so we're finding out that it's not so. And in my view, pretty much, based on the communication that we had written to the Prime Minister that spoke to the fact that we are unable to receive the fair and equitable dealings, and it appears as if there's some conflict of interest with the FS, we had indicated to the Prime Minister that we do not wish, and we're asking that he be recused from our negotiations.
So you wrote a letter to the Office of the Prime Minister asking that the FS be recused from negotiations?
We did.
How long ago did that happen?
Well, that was going on a month now. It was forwarded on the 1st of... Fortunately, we did not get a response because it appears as if there's an appetite to stymie the progress of concluding the industrial agreement on the part of the Financial Secretary. So we are very concerned. And it appears as if he is unable to discharge his duties without bias. So in my view, it appears that there needs to be an executive decision, or maybe I missed the fact that there was an appointment and, the FS has been appointed to the Minister of Finance. So, maybe I need to say congratulations to him.
Well, now you've said that the Minister of Finance, who is the Prime Minister, has laid out certain things, that certain things should happen, and that they should be carried out, obviously, by
the FS.
The FS. And those things haven't materialized for the BPSU.
Well, yes, that is indeed a fact, and that's a true statement.
Right.
I'll give you another scenario. We met with the Prime Minister, I think, somewhere around about March. Accounting officers who were concerned about some adjustment to their salaries that the previous administration left in place. And we also laid out what the public service policy is in that regard.
Right.
In conclusion, regarding that particular conversation with the Prime Minister, with the FS, and those individuals from the financial sector, it was determined that what was proposed and what public service policy said, that should be done. Mm-hmm. We left upstairs and we went downstairs, and there was a discussion that ensued between ourselves and the financial secretary, who vehemently and emphatically indicated that he was not doing what the Prime Minister had indicated he should do. Now, if my boss gives me some instructions, it's my responsibility to carry them out. So it appears as if the financial secretary is running rogue and doing whatever he feels like. And so those are two qualifying situations that we would have experienced. And he literally did what he said he was not going to do. Right. He literally did what he said he was not going to do it. He did it.
Yeah.
I found some stuff in one garbage can. I picked it up and I forwarded a copy to the Prime Minister indicating what our concern was, in that his instructions were not carried out to the letter of the law.
Right.
So again, these are some stuff into question. And so again, if we're going to get a fair shake, we need to be able to rely on the instructions that the Prime Minister gives.
Right.
And we expect that persons would see substance in the instructions being given to them and carry them out accordingly. So we're very challenged, and we believe that now there has to be some conflict from a personality standpoint as to why the chief of the nation is giving instructions and the subordinate staff is doing what it is they feel like.
I see. It seems like this is always a struggle and a fight for unions. How long have you been trying to get this done now?
Well, prior to this administration, our proposal was in from June of 2018. We started some stuff. Apparently, Dorian came in and suspended the negotiations, and then COVID-19 came and suspended it. However, from this particular agreement, we would have been able to benefit some $1,400, which was a part of a proposal that we presented to the government. But the new administration came and they made a decision not to honor it. However, they also presented us a 3-year proposal, which, just in my view, it's a fairly good proposal, because over the life of a 5-year industrial agreement, there would be basically 2 base increases and maybe a lump sum payment somewhere thereabout.
Right.
However, what the BPSU is concerned about is the persons at the lower end of the scale. Now, I want to do the FS's update on the fiscal report for, I think, last quarter.
Right.
And the question was asked, who would be the vulnerable persons in a recession or in the event that there is inflation? And he himself indicated that it would be the persons in the margin and those persons at the lower end of the scale. Those are the persons that we are fighting for, to ensure that they're able to receive a minimal amount of $100 as an increase. Now, when we propose what it is we proposed to the government, the Prime Minister asked the FS to take a look at it, and he wrote him back and indicated that if it was done the way that we were requesting, that it would create anomalies.
Right.
He has a point there. We do agree. While it was previously done and it created some anomalies where persons had to be placed on point to ensure that they're consistent with the salary book, fine, we agree. So if that is the only concern that we have, that there were anomalies that were going to be created, then we have the option of doing it through the route of increments, where once you've given a certain amount of increments, you would maintain your position in the salary scale, thereby not creating any anomalies. So if there's the will to do it, then that's the option by which we can achieve what it is we want to do. Now, for one person in the scale, you can find that 2 increments for one person equates to over $100. Right. But in an effort to cause the person at the lower end of the scale to achieve a minimum of $100, it may require 3 or 4 increments. Right. And so over the life of that there be equity in the amount of money, the dollar value of the thing. So in order to achieve the dollar value for persons at the lower end of the scale, it may require additional increments. While the persons at the low end of the scale, their incremental values are like $37.50. But there's somebody whose incremental value is like $67. Then there's another person whose annual incremental value is like $58. So if you give them 2 increments, they're going to realize over $100. But if you give the person at the lower end 2 increments, they're not going to even exceed $100. So that's our concern. And we are asking the government of Bahamas to reconsider. We granted persons at minimum wage have been bumped up. We're saying don't disadvantage the persons who were already at minimum wage. Give them the 3 increments that we're asking. And the persons at minimum wage who was bumped up, who received additional increments that brought their salary to some $13,520, somewhere thereabout. Yeah. Give them the 2 increments, right, because they would have already received that bump up. And we do appreciate the fact that the government gave consideration to minimum wage. Mm-hmm. But now we're talking salary increase. Mm-hmm. And so how unfair it would be to disadvantage some 5,000 to 6,000 public servants who were already beyond minimum wage because of the fact that you bumped up minimum wage.
Right, right. So, wow, you say that this affects around that number?
They're about somewhere around. Well, minimum wage, the increase in minimum wage affects about 2,000 to 3,000 people. Yeah. But there is a balance of people in that same category who would have already been beyond minimum wage, who that does not impact. So they can realize a minimum of $100 increase. And that is what we're agitating for. I don't think that that's unreasonable. Yeah. And maybe it may call for an executive decision, but it appears as if when executive decisions are made, people do what it is they feel like.
I see. How long?
I have a question, Chester.
Go ahead.
So has there been any direct dialogue between the union and the Prime Minister?
Well, we have endeavored to meet. We had 3 arranged meetings that were abruptly ended because of some other commitments that the Prime Minister would have had. And we were supposed to have met back with the Prime Minister, but since his return from Egypt, it has been like pulling teeth to get an audience with the Prime Minister. We wrote asking him to see if we can sit with him and to get some meaningful time so that we can bring this thing to a conclusion.
So you can figure it out.
I am also advised.
Has been a formal request to meet with the Prime Minister.
We wrote and we asked. Also, I was in constant contact with the chief negotiator, Mr. Evans, who indicated to me yesterday that he is still trying to get an audience. I guess through the means of the Prime Minister's aide, he has to access the Prime Minister. I've been sending WhatsApp messages to the Prime Minister asking for an audience, never got a response. I am very, very concerned. And again, I am seeing notes going around that it is the government's intent, union busting, and to seek to give salary increases in the absence of a negotiation. We have yet to sit to the table like every other union.
But if you sent him a WhatsApp, can you put in a call? Can you call that number, or are you not?
I would have called, and right. You know, one thing I like about these phones, they're smartphones, and so you can go to them, and I can tell you every day that I've called, every time that I've called, and I haven't gotten a response.
Can you say it's union busting if they've negotiated and sat down with other unions and given them pretty much what they wanted?
Right.
Well, I wouldn't say it's union busting if they negotiated, but if we never got an opportunity to sit down to the table and the government makes a decision that, hey, we're just going to, you know, make the president of the BPSU look bad. We're going to give whatever it is we feel like giving. It was done sometime during the time when the Honorable Shane Gibson was the Minister of the Public Service. Where he appealed to some of the persons at the Customs and Immigration Department and got them to sign stuff indicating that they're willing to receive and so on. If that's not union busting, I'd like to know what it is.
Yeah. Go ahead, dude.
No, I'm just curious. Does the Prime Minister's office, are they aware of the purpose of the meeting?
That is, I mean, clear.
It is something that requires a certain level of urgency, correct?
Indeed, and we have expressed that, and this would not be the only communication that we would have written. We would have written numerous communications expressing concern of getting it addressed, while the Minister of the Public Service would have come in the media and expressed their desire to ensure that public servants have something in their pockets for the holiday. We support what she's saying, but we need to be given the opportunity, like every other trade union, to sit down and bring these things to close and not be sending us emails indicating now this is our final offer. There's no finality in negotiations until such time as you reach an agreement.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that is true. I can't speak to the veracity of this text message that came in, but this person says they are a member of the BPSU, I guess. And they say, we are waiting for Mr. Ferguson to sign the agreement because we are ready for our payment before Bill and Christmas are here, and all Mr. Ferguson is doing is talking, go sign the agreement. The teachers, customs, nurses, ZNS are all getting their money. We are still waiting for you to sign. What do you say to that? What do you say to, are some people in agreement with what's been offered?
While I so aware that persons are challenged and anybody can come on or send a text and indicate that they're a member of the Bahamas Public Service Union, we would have had a membership meeting, and what the government offered was presented. The majority of the members made a decision, go back to the government.
Right.
And so that individual probably wasn't at the meeting.
Right.
Because there was an overwhelming, unanimous decision to go back. And so, hence, we're here to cause people to understand why we're where we are.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you know, you got trolls out there, and, you know, you have people who may want to, you know, make it appear as if there's irrationalization in what somebody is doing. And, you know, given it may be somebody whose incremental value exceeds the fella at the lower end of the scale. So they really don't care about the fella at the lower end of the scale. They care about themselves.
Right. We got a call coming in. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
Good morning, Teach. Long time no see, my brother.
Good morning. Yes, radio holding on, man.
Yeah, man. You have a lot of future. Good morning, Swiggy.
Morning, Jay. How you doing, man?
Fine. You know, we go back, way back.
Yes, sir.
You know something? See the Moses crew? It looks like they don't like the Bahamians. Then the half and good in this country try to get rid of all the most cool. I'm not saying get rid of them, but retire all of them. Because anything they do, God will never bless the Moses crew. They done fail us from that time. See, let me put you back to 1942. They were real Bahamians. 1968, they were real Bahamians. But the talking has to stop. Talk don't get nothing done in this country. You got to react. There may be some sadness or something. Man, here, do what you have to do. Shut the country down. Simple as that. Anybody who was there to 18 to 50, don't go to wait for 1 week and see what happened in this country. And time to take my call, my brother.
Thank you. That's a difficult thing to do, isn't it?
Well, not necessarily so. There are some persons who are waiting for the word, but the position that I take is I try to ensure that diplomacy has failed.
Yeah.
And you know, trade union leaders do not take it very slight when they must resort to those particular measures.
Yeah.
That is always a last resort. You know, and so it's not my job to act irresponsibly, because when public servants do not work, it has an impact on the already recovery.
Quite right.
And we know what we're coming out of. So while I may be here trying to act responsibly, I think that there's some other persons who should give consideration to the fact that unions are trying to behave themselves responsibly and give consideration to the request. And so again, why, Chester, is it fair or equitable to ensure that somebody can get more than $100 and it's satisfactory to give some person significantly less if we're dealing with general increases? And I want to emphasize the word general. And so it's all with a view to assist persons in addressing the rising cost of living. And like the texter indicated, the light bill, of course, fuel charges are going up. And so all of these same people at the end of the scale, they have to go to super value. And the cost of living is not discriminating over there. They have to go to the service station. The price of gas is not discriminating over there. They're not asking, are you a teacher? Are you a nurse? Or are you one of those persons? No, it doesn't. And so we have to, if we're going to do things, ensure that the pie is cut equitably so that people are able to compete or maintain a particular standard of living. The persons that are impacted by this, they're the janitresses, the security officers, the maids, the messengers, the drivers. These are the people. And so if we say that we want to address persons who may appear marginalized to some extent, then this is an ideal opportunity to embrace what you're saying.
Absolutely. And the texter mentioned the other unions that have signed, but those unions have come to some sort of agreement. You are still waiting for your agreement.
I'm still waiting to get to the table. And you know, I think, while I know the Prime Minister is an extremely busy man, and don't get me wrong, I think he has the right kind of heart, but I think he's being ill-advised, in my view, from his technical people. Okay? And so I think he needs to have someone else take another look at this scenario, not through the eyes of the FS, but through the eyes of somebody else that may be a technical individual in that particular regard. But again, the instruction was, I want a uniform increase. Then you know the pie that you have, and you know how you have to slice it.
Right, absolutely. All right, we got to go to a break before we end the show. So we're going to do that right quick, and we'll be right back.
Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of the new way.
Get a merry makeover this Christmas from Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan to win a home renovation. This Christmas, unwrap the celebration. $3,000 for your home, new lamp, new decor, new couch that you
Win
own.
a $3,000 home goods gift card when you apply for a Scotia Plan loan this Christmas. We're giving you the gift of a low interest rate and up to 2 months with no payments. Plan the perfect Christmas with your Scotia Plan loan. Use it for any purpose, plus benefit from flexible payment terms. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan now to enter to win a merry home makeover.
I just linked up with this beautiful young lady, and she says she in love with me. She say even my internet making sense. When she come over, she say my signal strong, my movies ain't glitching, and when she use her computer, everything was smooth. The only problem is, I let her meet me by my boy house that day, and he got that BTC fiber internet speed bump.
Current fiber internet bundle customers 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC. Link up.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Piggy Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Okay, class, let's begin today's history lesson. Ancient civilization used to visit stadiums to watch musicians perform. It was called a live concert.
Teacher, what year was that?
Researchers believe it was around 2019. Normal life feels like a long time ago. As things return to normal, remember it is against all vaccine-preventable diseases like COVID-19, rubella, polio, hepatitis, mumps, and influenza. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Canada, and the United States of America.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robarge along with Teach Grant, and we're talking to Kemsley Ferguson, president of Bahamas Public Services Union. And some text messages were coming in, so some people are saying, why y'all expect different from any PLP government? This person says, good morning. As a public servant, my understanding is that we were promised monies in 2018. Because of Dorian, we got a partial payment. We received another partial payment prior to election. We were promised the balance to see when passed. To date, we've not received that balance. I don't know if you could speak to that.
Well, what the Bahamas Public Service Union did, we presented a proposal to the government, and I need some persons to understand that when a proposal is presented, there has to be a consensus and an agreement that a particular amount is agreed upon that public servants would have received. Right. The only thing that we would have agreed to in that proposal was the $1,400 lump sum payment. Right. When this administration took office, they decided that they're not going to honor. Well, you can't even say honor because it was never signed off on. Right. And when a document is not signed off on, it's not legal and it's not binding. Right. And so I need our constituents to understand that that particular document, which would have been a 5-year document, which would have expired in 2023, the government decided that they were going to present another counter proposal from 2022 to 2025. Right. Okay? And I think you mentioned statistically under a PLP administration, I can give you data. Public servants increases were minimal every time. Under F&M administrations, you find that is when public servants received the larger increases in salary. Now, I will say this particular increase, and I want to reiterate this, For persons who are at the $600, $700, $800, and $1,000 annual incremental value, it's a very good proposal.
Right.
Because over the life of the agreement, would only receive basically 2 base increases. But again, I want to emphasize, persons are calling and saying, sign agreement. Those may be individuals who was going to receive a little over $100.
Right.
And I know that there are persons at the Public Hospitals Authority, at the Airport Authority, who are agitating and want their payments. I want to say to those particular entities, in my meeting with the Managing Director, Mrs. Auburnet Rule, and the Chief Negotiator for the government, please be advised that these entities are subsidized by the Bahamas government. So the proposal that's being presented to those entities are coming from the FS as well. The Managing Director in our meeting had a conversation with Mr. Wilson, and she indicated what he said, that this is what is being proposed. Now, the unique thing about the PHA and the Airport Authority, they are governed by incremental values as well. So the incremental values are basically the same.
Right.
So again, the people at the low end of the scale in these particular entities are going to be disadvantaged.
There you go. I guess you kind of just answered it, but the text message says, is it fair to hold PHA and Airport Authority hostage for the other entities that BPSU represent?
So again,
hostage.
There we have it. It's my job and my responsibility to ensure that the entire membership, the entire bargaining unit is dealt with fairly, and not to particularly agitate for one grouping and leave the other grouping undone. And so I need persons to understand this. We don't want to leave our brothers behind.
Some people seem to.
And I'm in agreement with you that some people are of the view that, hey, look here, the heck with that group. And that's not the posture. To be one for all and all for one.
That's right. Absolutely. So what's the next steps for you?
It may be necessary just to present ourselves in a particular fashion so that the government of Bahamas can realize that it's not just Kingsley Ferguson speaking, but the people that Kingsley Ferguson represent now need to speak.
Yeah. What kind of options do you have to present yourselves?
Well, it was said after we go back, we haven't gotten the audience, so it may be necessary now to take the next step in the absence of getting the audience and express what our concern is in numbers.
Do you have a time frame? I know you've had a letter into the Office of the Prime Minister since November 1st. You have a time frame in mind?
Well, we do. And, years ago, the withdrawal of services used to be a surprise one time ago, but we have our own people shooting us in the foot. You go into a meeting, you say, listen, nobody record this meeting. Then you listen again, you hear yourself on one voice note someplace, so we have a plan, and it's going to materialize.
All right. Any final words?
Well, again, I would like to say to the Prime Minister, and of course, he always have his people listening, their ears on the ground. Please, we need an audience. I believe that this can be dealt with amicably, and I believe that he is a man of compassion. And I think now an executive decision needs to be made, because I think some bias, we would have written it, we didn't get a response. We're asking, please, that the Prime Minister sit with us so that we can get a resolve on this issue, so that persons can have the type of holiday season that the teachers and the nurses and BEMU, they're going to enjoy.
They deserve, absolutely. Yes. Mr. Kingsley Ferguson, always a pleasure speaking to you. Appreciate what you do. And that's our show, Morning Blend for this morning. Coming up next, Morning Blend Business, we're talking with the Access Accelerator. Tej Grant, you're going to be with us, right?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. So we'll be back, and Morning Blend Business will begin.
Thank you, Jester.
Thank you.
FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, who I think is in Iceland.
You said a guitar for 20 minutes ago.
My co-host this morning, Deej Grant.
Good morning.
He's Waldo. Where in the world is Dwight Strachan? I appreciate that. So joining us this morning, that voice you heard, Delmaro Doncom, Director of B2B Sales at Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. And in studio with us, Michaela Munnings, Corporate Communications Manager at Access Accelerator. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning. How you doing?
Good. So
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. It is National MSME Month, right? That's still going on.
Yes.
You started with
All of November.
You started with some awesome things. I was able to attend the event yesterday for just a few. So tell us about where you are now and what you have left to do.
Well, we are definitely past the halfway mark. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lord. It's been an exciting month. We started off, of course, with our Family Island initiatives, Brunch and Business in Andros, Mix, Mingle and Market in Abaco, the Master Meetup in Eleuthera, and, of course, the Long Island Business Outlook. And so we've really been placing a heavy emphasis on the Family Islands. Of course, sometimes when we have events and initiatives that are on a national level, they kind of come on the back burner. And so with this month being our inaugural celebration, we really wanted to show our support to these MSMEs and business owners and, of course, budding entrepreneurs throughout the Family Islands. And so those events were all successful. We want to thank our partners, Cable Bahamas, which Damaro is here today representing Cable Bahamas. And so coming up, we're almost there. Yesterday we had the business forum.
Right.
That was well attended. We had some awesome presentations from digitization and innovation to incorporating inclusion and diversity presentation by Aaron Brown. How do you now make room for disabled persons to access your business services and be a part of your organization. I know that there are a few companies locally who have a mandate that they will actually employ a specific percentage. I think McDonald's is one of them, that they would employ a specific percentage of those individuals. And so how do we now make our offerings accessible to those persons. So
And
that
then
was really, really, really interesting.
Cable Bahamas recently featured what they're doing in that sphere, right?
Yeah, we're doing something with the 52-week program. And
Right.
from what I understand, the majority of the employees that we picked up or had some sort of deficiency or some challenge.
Right, yeah.
Or some disablement.
Yeah,
And so that's our small part to assist as well.
Tell us more about the forum yesterday. You had a lot of good speakers, like you mentioned, Aaron Brown.
Yeah, and so we had
I heard
lively.
you had a digital wallet boxing match.
Listen, we sure did between Lotus versus Canoe, and so I would have to find out based on our post-event surveys who won that match. So
Okay.
I'll come back later and tell you. But we did have an interesting time with the panel discussions. It was so good to see. One thing I'd like to mention, it was really good to see our live viewing audience. So interactive. They dropped questions in the chat, and they really had they posed some strong questions to our participants. So, it wasn't your typical forum where you just come, get up, present, people clap, and, you be seated and you go home.
Right.
We actually had audience participation virtual. So I was really glad to see that. And then, of course, Jaquay, Bertram the Bubbler, he stopped by for, a little comedic hour. He did some giveaways and made the room a little bit more exciting. We had some really, really vibrant topics. And yeah, we closed out the day. We had lunch, we had breakfast. And so business owners, young professionals, industry leaders were able to gather yesterday, network, get information, and have access to additional resources.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that sounds good. You have some honors coming up.
Yes.
As well as a business expo.
Yes. So, well, before we jump there,
Yeah.
we didn't want to let this month go by without just having a national service of celebration.
Yeah.
And so this coming Sunday, we will be at Bahamas Harvest Church, the West Campus, at 11 a.m. And Pastor Mario will be hosting us for our national church service for MSME month. And we want to invite, not only business owners and young professionals, but we want to invite the public. They're invited. And we do have a special announcement that we would want to make at that time in conjunction with Cable Bahamas Limited. And so you don't want to miss that. We will have the media in place. Our minister, Minister Halkidas, he will be present. And so we're looking forward to worshiping and celebrating with these business owners on Sunday. And then
You're trying to make sure in church.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I wanted to make sure he was in church.
Church is stadium seating.
Because I think Sundays are dedicated for football, right? So
All day.
I just wanted to make
What kind
sure.
of football now? We got
both.
So he has like a pie chart
Pressure.
on his status, and it says like 90% is blue, and it's Sundays are for football, and then the 10% says Sundays are for football in red. So he wants you to know that his Sundays are taken out.
You're giving away all
But
his business.
I'll be there. I'll be
But
at,
he'll be
I'll
there.
Be at
Praise
Bahamas
the Lord.
office to support the MSME month and all the activities.
And so, before I kind of close out and get into the last two events, I really want Delmara to speak to the partnership. This was specifically important for us. We could not have done this without them.
Yes.
With it being the inaugural month, we literally had we jumped straight into action. Once we got the approval of the proclamation from the Prime Minister, we jumped and planned this month of activities within weeks. And so we could not have done it without corporate partners like Bahamas Air, who's our official travel partner,
Right.
responsible for getting our team and, our honorees for the upcoming event back and forth throughout the islands. And so we're really grateful for that partnership. But Cable Bahamas really jumped on board every step of the way. They came with us to the islands. They did cell phone giveaways to business owners. And so I want him to kind of speak about what the importance of strategic partnerships for the organization and what he has to offer in terms of small business solutions.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Michaela. But for us, it was a no-brainer, Chester, because as many may or may not know, the small business sector of just about every economy is really the backbone of any successful economy. Yeah. And we want to make sure that the small business here in the Bahamas, it's been strong, particularly during the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic. And we want to continue to give them the support they need to continue their success. Right. And one of the best ways of doing that, outside of some of the training and funding that the SPDC and Access Accelerator is doing, is by integrating technology in their everyday operations the best way they can. So for us, at Cable Bahamas Business Solutions, we work very closely with many of our customers to try and get a better understanding of their business, what it is that they're trying to accomplish, if they're trying to roll out some innovations in their business, and we try to make sure we can match or give them the support they need to be able to deliver those services. So it goes beyond just providing them connectivity, the basic internet, telephone service. We also want to try and understand what they're doing, so we can help them leverage the use of that technology for them to be able to provide either more efficient service to the customers, for them to manage their operations better, add efficiencies where they find it necessary. And so we have to give kudos to our head of small and medium business, Chantel Sands, her and her team. They're doing an excellent job in terms of providing service to our customers and giving them the support they need, again, to be successful. And then obviously just generally shout out our entire B2B team over at Cable Bahamas Business Solutions, because it takes everyone to deliver these services to our customers and keep them happy. And so for that, I'm very grateful, and we just could not pass upon this opportunity to partner with the SBDC, because it just made good business sense. Like what I said earlier about business economy, we're very, very passionate about it, and we want to continue to give the support that they need to be successful.
Excellent. Do you see a lot of customers coming out of that partnership?
Yes,
maybe?
yes. Continuously. I mean, what we enjoy most is having the conversations. Because what I like about small business is the creativity that comes out in the small business arena. I mean, we talk about, one of my stories has always been people like, and I want getting free advertising, right? The food delivery people, right? The orange ones, right? We continue to do great things for them, and then just spin-offs from that coming out of the pandemic. Everyone turned into a cook and a chef and a baker, and just how they continue to promote their businesses, either whether it's through WhatsApp, whether through Facebook, and us just being able to power their dream and power those initiatives, and really see them blossom and succeed. It's like a passion project, and it brings us joy to see our customers succeed.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And not only that, I wanted to mention when we had the first event in Andros, we had a representative, Rory Major from Cable, and what was specifically, all of the business owners were happy, and it was so refreshing to see. He didn't come and try to push services on them. He really spoke to what's happening on the island of Andros specifically, and what can we expect in terms of infrastructure. And so I want you to speak to maybe what are some of the plans specifically for the Family Islands, because in a time when they feel like, okay, Nassau gets all of the attention, what are some of your specific goals or objectives, maybe over the next 12 months, specifically for Family Islands?
Yep, very good question, Michael. You could co-host with Chester. No, but we're doing infrastructure. Most of these things require some capital investment, right? And so there's always the question of balance between how much to invest versus what the returns are going to be like, right? So we're not publicly traded, we're a private company, so we got to deliver value for our investors. But we do have on our timeline to make some investments, particularly in Eleuthera and Exuma, to improve the infrastructure there in terms of the fiber infrastructure, because we know that Exuma been booming for the last couple of years, and Eleuthera is coming. Eleuthera is coming, believe it or not, and so we want to make sure that we can strengthen our infrastructure in both of those islands, so that we can meet the growth expectations that we have evidence of seeing. And islands like Andros, additionally, we're looking to find areas where our services are required or there's a greater demand. It's the big yard, so there's a lot to cover in Andros. So we have to look at Andros very strategically, and other islands the same way. But for islands like Eleuthera and Exuma, where there seems to have been growth taking place in large parts of the islands, we're working to meet those demands in terms of improving the infrastructure there. So once we're able to do that, that would allow these businesses so much more capability and ability to do things with the technology that we're able to roll out. And so those are things we're doing in the immediate future.
And the number of small businesses on the islands is growing.
It is. It is.
Really well.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. Excellent. So Michael, tell us what else we have going on for MSME.
So
So we talked about the church services Sunday, and then on Monday, our SPDC team, as well as I think 1 or 2 representatives from Cable Bahamas, will be heading to Freeport for the Grand Bahama Business Symposium. So it's a 2-day initiative.
They invite me to that one, Justin.
They invite me either.
Yeah.
But they want him to go to church then.
It's important. It's important.
So it's a 2-day business symposium initiative hosted by the Chamber of Commerce over there, and so we're acting as a partner.
Right.
The second day, which I'm extremely proud about, will showcase business owners in the form of an expo hosted by Access Accelerator, and so they will have their booths with products and services on display. I think they paid a really low fee for the expos, like $30, and they're able to access this wider platform of individuals where they can showcase their products and services. And so that's exciting because we'll have a lot of, like I said, young professionals, sponsors, partners, and dignitaries coming from Nassau to Freeport, so we get to now even see what these businesses have to offer in our second city. And so that's a 2-day event. From there, we come back home, and on Wednesday is the grand finale. You don't want to miss it. It's our red carpet, semi-formal event at Fusion Superplex. It's called MSME Honors. So this is the night that I am boasting about, extremely proud about. We would now close out officially the National MSME Month with an honors ceremony where we highlight business owners across a few categories. I think it's about 7. Just for the initial celebration. Of course, next year we may expand that number into about 10 or 12. But we want to really tell the story of these business owners, highlight them, give them their flowers now. And it's going to be a star-studded night, live Bahamian entertainment. We will have, our minister in place. Hopefully the Prime Minister will be able to attend, still waiting on his confirmation. But it's set to be an exciting night. And, of course, our Bahamians love to dress up.
Yeah.
And so that it is a ticketed event. Tickets will be sold from our offices on Gladstone Road, and so they can just contact us at 461-7232. The call rings. It's a cocktail reception before, and the event is from 7 to 9.
Where is it going to happen at Fusion?
So it's in the XS3 Theater.
Oh, okay.
Once you walk in the theater far to the left, and we have that whole area, nice red carpet, backdrop, live interviews. The press will be there, and so we are particularly excited about that. And he's going to be there because he wants to dress up as well.
Indeed.
Y'all getting them to do a lot of dressing up.
Yes.
Indeed.
Praise the Lord.
But now they just got to take you to Grand Bahama.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't tell you about that one?
No.
Interesting.
No, that's fine.
They're listening in, though. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Now they can send the private jet.
Yeah, I'm sure the big boss is listening in. So.
Oh wow.
You'll be fine.
That's great. That's great. So how have small businesses been kind of responding to MSME month?
So they've been very grateful, and we've actually received some feedback by way of surveys or just persons taking the time out to call and email. What they have been most grateful for is that we did our best to make sure that all of the separate curated events were free of charge.
Right.
And so that's always important because, with the cost of doing business, and there are times when you want to attend these events, you want to network, you want to go out to these seminars. But when you look at, your day-to-day expenses and just things that are priority, you don't have it. And it just doesn't take precedence in terms of, what you need to do or execute.
Right.
And so that was one of the things for us, and hence the need for corporate partnerships. So I want to put that plug out there that this is an annual event. So this is my shameless plug, appeal to corporate Bahamas for those who would love to come on board with us with these initiatives in future years. So this is one of the ways that these business owners were impacted, being able to attend these events at no cost, soak up all of this information, network, and just being able to, let your hair down as a business owner and say what your true challenges. Don't know. The SBDC, we advocate for small business owners based on our relationship with governmental agencies. And so to hear them come out, share their heart, their surveys, what are some of the barriers that they face? What are some of the opportunities that they see that they feel like they may not have access to? And so that was equally as important for us, not just putting on these events, but of course getting the feedback, whether positive or negative, so that we could continue our journey of advocacy and being able to better advise these business owners.
Yeah. Did you find that there were a lot of people who attended some of the events that were kind of just learning about SBDC?
Certainly. I know that there were also a little bit of confusion because sometimes persons say, okay, I hear Access Accelerator and then I hear SBDC. So, I'm is it the same entity? And so we did a lot of education throughout, of course, our media tours, the radio stations, and our television interviews, and of course the content that we would have posted on social media. So a large portion of this month was spent on educating the public, because I find that there were maybe 3 groups of persons, right? Persons who've never heard of us, persons who've said, okay, I've heard the name, but I just don't know what it is that you do. Associate us with funding.
Right.
And so we wanted to make that message clear that, one, you do not have to be a funded client of ours to access a lot of the services that we offer.
Yeah.
And so that was important for us because it's a national month.
Yeah.
So we didn't want the public to see it as SBDC month.
Right.
It's National MSME month. And so that was important to educate consumers, listeners, followers that, hey, you could actually come walk through our doors and have access to advisory services, entrepreneurial training, and the works. And so that was paramount for us in just executing the month initially. And then we had persons that were wanting to know more about our funding. And then you have a category of persons who really don't need funding, but they need guidance because they're already in the business. It's existing, but something along the line is just not working.
Yeah.
And so they want your help and your support and just a little nudge in the right direction.
Right.
And so it was very interesting to see public feedback, but it was more so enlightening to know that there is more work to be done, more ground to be covered, because we're only 4 years old. So at 4 years, you're still in the infancy stages.
Yeah.
And so there's more work to do in letting persons know that, one, we do exist, and two, what are the things that we offer.
Yeah, got to keep spreading the message.
Absolutely.
That's the key. And that's one of the reasons why we also wanted to partner with them, with the SBDC and Access Accelerator, because we also wanted to give some of our customers the opportunity to get the experience, to get some training. Because they have a number of programs that they offer, from financial management to operation management. So we also want to give our customers the opportunity to benefit from the partnership as well. And so just hats off to the SBDC and your managing director.
Executive director.
Executive director,
Yes.
Samantha Road, who's doing an excellent job.
Executive
And just encourage them to continue. And we are here to continue to be a support for SBDC Access Accelerator and small business in the Bahamas. And we're able to do that through any number of ways, whether it's internet connection, phone, mobile phones. Some people still don't know about Bahamas as well actually have fixed phone lines, right? So,
that's true.
that's some of the things that we do. We have a tremendous bundle package that we offer called Business in a Box, which encompasses everything that I've mentioned, or any 3 items that you need for your business. So, we're here to assist and provide the technological support for these businesses to be successful, and working along with SBDC, the training that they need for the businesses to grow and be successful.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to break for our morning business report, and Morning Blend Business will be right back.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Be alive and get rewarded. Introducing Alive Rewards for prepaid and postpaid in the My Alive app. With Alive Rewards, get cash back, monthly credits, and data when you pay, stay, refer, assist, and earn. For postpaid, get 2 gigabytes of bonus data when you pay for your bill 3 months in a row. For prepaid, get 5% cash back when you purchase in the My Alive app. For everyone, refer a friend and get $25 for you and $25 for your friend when they switch to Alive. Log on to bealive.com for more info and more ways to get rewarded. Alive Rewards. We are alive.
Fidelity. We're good for you. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The Securities Commission of the Bahamas' latest statement, released late Monday night, explains that the regulator's intent to recoup any costs it incurs from operating a digital wallet, holding cryptocurrency exchange FTX's assets for safekeeping. The SEC said it secured an order from the Supreme Court to ensure it is reimbursed through the FTX liquidation proceedings. They said, quote, on 21st of November 2022, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas obtained an order from the Supreme Court of the Bahamas to secure a right of indemnity and right to be reimbursed for expenses reasonably incurred by the Commission in connection with the regulatory action taken to safeguard the digital assets of FTX Digital Markets Limited. And Credit has affirmed the Bahamas' credit rating at B+, and its outlook as stable in its latest credit opinion report on this country. It explained that the stable outlook also supposes no adverse impact on the country, especially from the recent collapse of locally headquartered cryptocurrency exchange FTX Digital Markets. The S&P also explained that this country's real gross domestic product growth will slow next year to 1.1%. The credit rating agency said, quote, the pandemic, low historical growth, and repeated natural disasters have weighed on the country's economy. Despite good growth over the next 2 to 3 years, our assessment of the sovereign's creditworthiness reflects its below-average long-term growth performance compared with that of others at a similar level of development. And as the country continues to face economic headwinds, Vice President and District Head for Scotiabank, Roger Archer, explained that households need to keep their credit scores front of mind to ensure they will have access to credit in difficult times. Archer, who made the comments during the TCL Group's webinar series, Economic Resilience, Preparing for the Opportunities and Challenges of 2023, explained that people should request a copy of their credit report to begin understanding it, vetting it, and improving it. He said, quote, we now have a credit bureau and households have to be mindful of that because as we go into what's likely to be very uncertain period, managing your credit score, making sure that you have access to credit when it's needed is critical. And the EU Court of Justice says no to public register mandate. The European Union Court of Justice has struck down an EU mandate for there to be public registers of beneficial ownership of all companies, according to an article posted by Bermuda's The Royal Gazette yesterday, that the ruling is a win for jurisdictions like the Bahamas because it, quote, recognizes the importance of protections when it comes to privacy and data protection, which are protected rights. The Bahamas' registry of beneficial owners is not public, and Pinder says it will remain that way. In international business news, on a recent evening in November, shoppers at the Bryant Park Holiday Market in New York City were in the holiday spirit well before Black Friday. The scent of pine wafted from candle sellers' booths. People snapped up gingerbread cookies and hot apple cider, and ice skaters swirled figure eights around the rink in the center of the market. After 2 years of pandemic holidays when people spent more dollars online, shoppers are back in force in stores and at holiday markets. Small businesses say it is beginning to feel a lot like Christmas, both emotionally and financially. Sally Austin Gonzalez, CEO of soap company Salyander, based in Beacon, New York, said, quote, "It's definitely been busier than last year." This is her second year at the Bryant Park Market, officially called the Holiday Shops by Urban Space at Bank of America Winter Village at Bryant Park. She says people are taking advantage of being part of a society again and walking around. Christmas markets have been popular in Germany and Austria, where they're called Christkindl markets, and other parts of Europe for centuries. They've become more popular in the U.S. over the past few decades, springing up in Chicago, Atlanta, San Francisco, and many other cities in New York. The Grand Central Holiday Market and the Union Square Holiday Market started in 1993. And that's your morning business report, brought to you by For Future Generations. Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards, along with Tej Grant. You got your coffee?
Yes, I did. My coffee is right here now. I am now drinking all my coffee, feeling kind of alive now. You know,
like how that sounds.
Yeah.
If anybody was waiting for a World Cup update, which you're probably not. Anyway, I can give it to you anyway. Germany and Japan 1-1. What's
Wow.
that? Oh, where's Dwight?
Amsterdam, I think.
He might,
last check.
Yeah.
It's been about half an hour, so I just want
Yeah,
Is Dwight in Qatar?
He gets around, you know.
Okay.
On his vacations.
He's done in Qatar.
On his vacations, he moves about a bit. So we are talking with the Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center, A Squared. Any other aliases there?
Child, no, that's it. Just those two.
As well as Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. We were talking with Mauro Duncombe and, of course, Michael Munnings, who is the Corporate Communications Manager at the Access Accelerator. See, we have a call coming in. Is this call? It's not about World Cup, right?
We didn't have any texters this morning. That's surprising.
No, not yet. I guess everybody, maybe they showed up to your events. Maybe they've been sated. Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Well, good morning, Chester, and to everybody in the studio. Yesterday it was a very horrible line. I was on a cell phone, so I've never heard static on a cell phone. But calling you yesterday because I was slightly concerned that one of the, should I say banks or credit rating agencies, don't want to call it name, said yesterday in the business report that world growth is only going to grow by half of what it was the previous year. That concerned me because what will the other half do? And that's basically what I wanted to tell you yesterday. Right. That and, we should have had our own crypto exchange.
Right.
And we should have had our own Sand Dollar, or as discussed on Lester Cox show in 2016, our own conch coin, taking after the 1966 silver dollar that has a conch on it. And it should have been backed by our natural resources. Even if you only backed it with sand, it would have had some serious value out of the gate, and aragonite, and potentially oil and whatever else resource we had.
Right.
But we didn't follow that. We went down a different path of allowing someone to come in and because we're rich and do it for us, and they jammed us. And so the difference, Chester, cryptocurrency, let's use Bitcoin, it will not go to zero. You see, because I have $100 and one Canadian bank closes in the Bahamas, well, my $100 is still valuable, right? I can go to a different bank, a Bahamian bank. So a financial institution, a crypto closed, Bitcoin didn't go to zero. People simply just moved to a different bank, and you wouldn't leave it in any one bank. But we'll talk about that later. Good show.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for calling back to explain. We had a bit of a crackly line yesterday when he called in. It ain't too late for Concoin. That might still come true.
That can still, yeah, it can still happen. Tell Graham to do it.
Yeah, bro. Hey, maybe we got a small business that might come up with some digital asset company going through the SBDC. But we go ahead.
I did have a question though, Chester, about the small businesses in Grand Bahama, because that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
But the economic challenges that are there right now, currently, do you find the small businesses to be a bit challenged right now in Grand Bahama?
Most definitely. And one of the things that we spoke about on a management level within the organization this year is looking to, we currently have specific programs, right? And they are tailored based on the need at the time. So for example, if the Ministry of Agriculture says, listen, we would like to inject X amount of dollars into the fishing and farming industry, right? We then produce a program and launch a grant or, whatever type of program that we want to do. For example, in October, I think we had the Sustainable Food Growth Grant. And we had $1.3 million injected into that. But of course, it was oversubscribed. We had requests of up to $10 million, right? And so we do from time to time have these programs depending upon the investment and where that's coming from, like the various ministry. For example, if the Ministry of Youth wants to do a youth entrepreneurial grant, then we can execute that. So what we wanted to do as an organization, looking for 2023 and beyond, we want to be able to say, okay, this specific grouping of funds is specifically for businesses in Grand Bahama to give them that larger access and the greater probability of being selected for that particular grant or program. Because we understand that on a wider pool, of course, you have to ensure that the documentation is correct, right? So you want to make sure that the business plan, all of these things are sound and intact to go along with your application, and this increases your chances of being one of the successful recipients. But of course, when we look at it on a wider scale from island to island, we want to be able to specifically do grants and programs for key islands that may at this time be struggling or need additional support. And so that is one of the things that we are looking towards doing in 2023. So just so that these islands would be able to have that greater access on, a wider pool and it be more strategic rather than almost competing with persons and across industries and throughout various businesses throughout the entire archipelago.
And just asking, I just want to put it out there. If somebody in Grand Bahama, a business owner, they say, this economy is struggling, is challenged. I want to do this business, but I want to do it in a Luthra because I see, they have room for growth. Their trajectory is a bit higher than ours. Can I establish this business plan, know how to execute this, and give this to the SBDC and receive the help that I need to open a business or to start a business?
Yeah, no, certainly. So, you're free to start up and make those investments and injections in any island, right? So
in any island,
providing that from time to time we would have various grant programs, but also we have our standard Access Accelerator flagship program, and then of course we would have loan offerings. And so once you present your plan and you choose the program or the offering that works best for you and the nature of the business that you're about to execute, certainly there's no limitation to where you can establish this business. Once you have your property or your leased space, it's totally up to you and specific approvals in place. Yeah, there's no limitations.
The only reason I asked and I put it out there is because I do talk to quite a few Grand Bahamians, and these days it seems like more and more of Grand Bahamians are talking about starting a business in even Abaco, that was just affected by Hurricane Dorian, even worse than Grand Bahama. But they see that, it's more fertile soil over there. It's like more room for growth. And so that's why they trust the investment a bit more. They don't see it as much as a risk, which is crazy, but that's what they're doing. They're talking about Eleuthera. They're talking about Exuma. And so that's why I asked.
And certainly we would also want to add to your point, this is why we have our forums, we have our town halls, and we have these specific events so that business owners and potential business owners can voice their concerns and challenges. And then we can now go back and petition on your behalf to, the larger organizations, government agencies where we have that existing relationship. I know there are some things in the works for Grand Bahama, but just in general as an organization, we saw the need to kind of geo-target some of our programs in the upcoming years, just to be able to do more and provide more funding to specific Bahama, Andros, Eleuthera, Exuma, and
And some of that is kind of started through certain programs too, like Royal Caribbean.
Correct. So RCL would have had their Kickstarter program, and that was tailored towards tourism-based businesses in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Berry Islands. And so we're seeing, like I said, it just depends on the organization that's providing the funding, or sometimes we have angel investors, and they may say, okay, listen, I see there is potential in, San Salvador. We would like you to do a grant that is tailored towards helping the startup or existing businesses on the island of San Salvador. Right. And so from time to time, we would have to curate these programs based on the ask, the demand, and of course, the injection of the investor or organization.
Right. You asked for the texters, and here they are. This person says, good morning. Can you ask when will we know who was awarded the agricultural grants?
The agricultural grant. Okay, so the Sustainable Food Growth Grant, that program would have ended maybe mid to late October. So I think that so the adjudication process should have been finalized already. I can definitely follow up. That individual is free to contact me at 461-7232. I can definitely follow up, but I do know that once the program is closed, then we go through the adjudication process of reviewing all of the applications, making sure that the required documentation was submitted, and then it goes to the next step of the investment committee and the decision making. And so I can definitely follow up for that individual, but I know that grant is closed and the adjudication process has already happened.
Okay. This person's, good morning, great show. How does Access Accelerator help clients to develop their business acumen?
So, great question. As I would have mentioned earlier, you do not have to be a funded client of ours to access the services. You can walk through our doors. We are open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and our offices are on Gladstone Road on the same property as the old Fields Warehouse building. Right. And so you can access us via email, on our website, accessaccelerator.org, or at 461-7232. We can then find out your specific need, have an initial consultation, and then connect you with an advisor based on the act. So like I said, we have entrepreneurial training, mentorship services, advisory services, business plan support writing, and the like. So it just depends on what that individual's specific need is, and then we can group them with an advisor.
Okay, well, there's the answer to that. Yeah, no, that was the. Oh, there it is.
That's it.
This person says, "How to get to be the first person? How to get to be the first person to get the grant to grow marijuana?" I don't know if they're dealing with that right now. So
and they had this and that using the slang, you know.
Where are we with that discussion?
Right,
legally, right?
Exactly. So we're still in wait and see mode.
Yeah, we're not there yet. So I don't think it's been passed as yet.
I like how you're thinking.
Yeah, forward thinking, right?
I get to be the first.
You jump in the gunja.
Yes.
Hey, I had to.
I wasn't ready.
I had to.
And I mean, while that individual is actually thinking of a business, I would definitely want to give some advice and try to make it, even in agriculture, you're able to make your businesses smart technology, right? So they need to think along those lines of, especially for a top consideration.
Yeah.
Start growing something.
Innovative.
Right? I mean, start growing something, and then
get your green thumb.
Once the legal parameters of the marijuana industry has been figured out, then you could just transition into that.
Yeah, because we do look at experience as well in the industry. So
you just
we do consider experience.
They may have experience,
start
but
small.
they can't say.
This person again says the same person who asked the marijuana question says they have a rental car company. They asked for a grant to build inventory, but the process is not simple and it's extremely long.
Okay, so let me to speak to that, and I want to honestly say, because there would be persons who would have applied for a grant loan. Maybe it may not be their first application with Access Accelerator SPDC. Right. And so I do want to say one thing. Everyone that applies is not going to be approved. That is just the harsh reality of it. Simply because, one, we are heavily reliant upon funding from the various organizations, whether that be governmental agencies, private organizations, or angel investors. And each program has a cap, right? So as I would have mentioned, the Sustainable Food Growth Grant, we had 1.2 or 1.3 million, but the ask and the request that came in amounted to 10 plus million.
Right.
And so obviously there was a shortfall of some $9 million. Right. So we could not assist everyone. And so one of the things that you along the process, and as that person would have asked, to stand out, to be, have priority consideration or be at the top tier, is your supporting documents.
Right.
We've realized as well as a team that there are a lot of things that we ask for simply because we want to rule out certain factors. Sometimes persons would get what they call free money, and then they go and do something else with it. So if you've made the investment, if you've taken the time to sit with an advisor, to sit with the business plan writers, then this is something that you obviously truly want. If you've taken the time to sit through these courses, free programs, mentorship, and trainings, then, the heart is there, the passion is there, and this is something that you truly want to execute. So we're just trying to rule out the persons that, in instances where it's a loan, that just want the money and have absolutely no intention of paying it back.
Right.
And of course, in grant instances where you're actually going to inject this monies into your existing business, or you're actually going to see and follow through with your plan for your startup. Right. And so we know that we are looking to I guess, kind of streamline the process a little bit more. There are a lot of documents that are required. I will not lie to you. I will be honest. There are a lot of documentation in addition to business plan. Of course, we want to make sure that for existing businesses, you have the right certifications, whether it be health certificates, business licenses, the right permits to operate. And so we are looking at ways that we can kind of make the process, one, a little bit less tedious, and then streamline it to make it more efficient. And that is something that we will be implementing in 2023.
Okay. Let me just quickly add to that. I mean, just for someone who is familiar with business, anything worthwhile is worth the time and the effort, right? I mean, they're not these are funding. It's more so to help you understand and get an appreciation of how business should be done at a certain level, right? And like Michael has said, There are certain things you need to demonstrate.
Mm-hmm.
You need to demonstrate that you managing your finances well. You need to demonstrate that you're an expert in this field. You need to demonstrate that hey, you operate a safe business.
Yeah.
These are things that the SBDC and Access Accelerator need to be confident in before they just decide to give away money or give you a loan.
Absolutely. They said, they continue, I'm dead serious, it is long. Y'all, I guess they mean y'all ask for too much things. The only thing they don't ask for is blood sample or urine test. Then they say, you don't believe me, Chester, try it. I am an SBDC Access Accelerator client, so I know.
And and I mean, like, just to
Is
add
it that bad,
to,
Chester?
Well,
just
4 years for me.
Just to add to what Delmaro said, right? I mean, let's be fair here. Let's be honest. There are, you kind of don't want to group persons together, but there are some persons who would mishandle and mismanage the offerings that we have. And so we want to be sure that, like I said, this is truly something that you want to do, you're passionate about, and you're going to see it through to the end.
Right.
Now, I know that we have had, even this year and in the past, just complaint about the tedious nature of the process. And so that's one of the things that we are looking towards, because if we are then, not only providing these business owners with access to funding, but we have follow-ups, right? So we do trainings and support systems and advisory services. And if we're telling you to now how to make your business more easier, efficient, productive, and then the challenge is, well, you guys are not easy, efficient, and productive. And so we're not just dismissing the comments. We are looking at them and reviewing internally on a holistic level so that we can provide you with better service and ease of offerings in 2023 and beyond.
And part of what you're saying probably answers this question that came in. What is the importance of having persons who have access loans paying them back? That they said, i.e., is the funding used for other programs.
Well, I mean, it's really important, right? Because we want to be able to have more money in the pool to then help more business owners. And so when you find that the delinquency rate is higher, and you want to also now have the conversation about our application process, and it's being tough and being difficult, then that will also have an effect on the application and acceptance process, because now we have to make it even more difficult. Because if the delinquency rate continues to increase and persons are just like, it's about time the government do something for me. I need this free money and I got it and I'm done and I'm not going to even look back, then that has a trickling effect on, the up and coming budding entrepreneurs and persons who are desirous of starting a business, and they will also be, kind of disenfranchised.
And then you have this process that is tedious.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and as was said yesterday during the forum, these applications, some of them, if you're applying, go to banks, commercial banks, development bank.
Because we have various financial institution partners, and
they are going to be the ones who ask you for the blood and urine sample. So it's better the SBDC gets you prepared to get all these documents together before they send it to those people to give you money.
And then once you reach that pre-approval process, that first step, and you move on. It's good that, we are so tough on you in the beginning, because then you're able to have a better conversation, right?
Right.
And you're able to speak to the various components of your business as though you know what it is that you're saying.
Correct.
And so now these investors say, okay, and the decision makers say, yes, I believe in you, Chester. I want to see you win, and I want to take you to the next level. But when, let's just say we say, okay, bring your passport, an IB card, a photo, and tell us about the business. And then you get in front of the various heads at the decision-making table, and you're fumbling. You just don't know what it is. There's no context. There's no real, true passion or a conversation about what it is that you want to accomplish. That's going to be an easy, quick no.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we're just preparing you for almost like, the real world.
Yeah.
We're preparing you for the future conversations once you would have passed the initial sign-up, registration, application process.
Yeah. There's a person telling me I must apply to see how long it takes. I'm no stranger. I'm already a client. You're not telling me anything I don't know. But, it builds you as a business person.
And I appreciate that person, in a sense, being devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
Because these are the tough conversations that we need to have. We are in the business of helping MSMEs, business owners succeed. Right?
Yep.
So what are some of the ways that we need to look internally and see where we can improve? And so I always appreciate what people may call, the naysayers or the hard conversations, because we need to do reflection. And I don't even think it's just on an annually basis, maybe quarterly or after each program. What we should start doing is assessing the program, its viability, how did it run, how well did it go, and what we can do better in this particular area. And so I do appreciate that texter's sentiments.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Joe, it's Morning Blend Business for the day. Damaro, Michaela, thanks for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chester.
Enjoy the rest
So
of...
let's talk about this co-hosting now.
Yeah.
Where's Dwight now? I mean, it's like after 10.
Monday. If you're interested, Monday, I got a spot.
Okay.
I got a spot for you. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining Morning Blend Business. On the Clock with Aaron Green is up next. Be good to each other. God bless. And have a great day.
And see you at church, Chester, on Sunday. Thank you so much.
Wake up, it's a new day.